Hello everyone. Today we are discussing an important aspect relating to Specific Relief Act 1963, that is recovering possession of property. This aspect basically covers section 5, 6, 7 and 8 of Specific Relief Act, wherein section 5 and 6 deals with recovery of possession of immovable property, whereas section 7 and 8 of the same act deals with recovery of possession of movable property. So if we start with section 5, it basically talks about recovery of specific immovable property where a particular person is entitled to possession of a specific immovable property and he is dispossessed from the possession of such property, then section 5 says that such person can recover the possession of the said property in question by taking a recourse to Code of Civil Procedure 1908. Basically, it implies that the person who is so dispossessed can file a regular suit in a civil court as per the provisions of Code of Civil Procedure. Next section, section 6, is further continuation of section 5 only. Basically talks about when a person is so dispossessed of an immovable property, he can bring a regular suit, and how that particular person can bring a suit in a civil court is dealt under section 6. It talks about that the person was basically, first of all, the person was dispossessed from the property without his consent, and no due course of law was followed for his dispossession, means he was not dispossessed or moved out from the property concerned with due course of law or as per the provisions of the law. So his dispossession was not legal or lawful. So he can file a suit for recovery of possession under section 6 obviously. Further, the section states that there is a limitation period on filing suit for recovery of possession, that is 6 months. So a suit under section 6 must be filed within 6 months from the date of dispossession. After that, no suit can be entertained under section 6 for recovery of possession. Likewise, section also states that if a particular person is dispossessed from the movable property by government, then in that situation, no suit against government lies under section 6. So person cannot bring a suit against government for dispossession. These two conditions are specifically mentioned under section 6. Further, the section states that against any order or decree passed under this particular section, no appeal or review can be preferred. So there can be no appeal or review from any order or decree passed under this particular section. This connotation further impliedly states that the person can go under section 115 of CPC for revision. As no appeal or review is there, the person can prefer revision in this particular matter under section 115 of CPC. Another thing which I would like to tell you here, that even a tenant whose tenancy period has been expired is staying over a particular property of the landlord or the owner itself, even the owner cannot dispossess such particular tenant from his property under this particular section. If such tenant is dispossessed, also his tenancy period was expired, he was, without his consent, removed from the property by the owner and it was not under due course of law, then even such tenant can bring a suit under this particular section for recovery of possession of immovable property. But in such situation, when a tenant gets such possession, what is the remedy available with the owner? So section itself states that basically section 6 clause 4 talks about this, that if a particular owner is there against whom a decree or order has been passed under this particular section, and he has to give his possession or possession of his property to the tenant, he can always seek remedy under any other provision of law in force at that particular time. So although he cannot claim possession under this particular section, but he can go to the court of law for his property under any other section of any other law which is in action or is enforceable at that particular period of time. Further, if we talk about Section 7, as I have already told you, it talks about recovery of specific movable property. If we see Section 5 and 7 have almost same connotation except one, that is the kind of property. It is also talking about the person should be first of all entitled to possession of such property, and property is of movable nature, and that particular person was removed from the possession of such property, then he can recover again the property in the manner as prescribed by CPC, Code of Civil Procedure, and a regular suit can be brought up in a civil court for the recovery of such property. I would like to here state that the person entitled to possession need not be the owner only. He can be owner, he can be any other person who was in prior possession of the property just before disposition, or even a mortgagee, or any other person under contract, succession, transfer, or any other like transaction. Any person having the possession would be a person entitled to possession for the purposes of Section 5 and 7. Further, Section 7 has two appended explanations, out of which first explanation is talking about trustee's right to sue for beneficiary. We all know that trustee is a person who holds property or trust for a particular third person, that is the beneficiary, for a limited time only. Here also, if in any particular situation a trustee has been removed or dispossessed from some movable property, the section itself says that even the trustee can bring a regular suit under CPC for the recovery of such property for the benefit of beneficiary. So even he has the right to recover such property. If we come to second explanation talks about special or temporary right of possession. There are certain kind of transactions or agreements, or we can say contracts, under which a particular person or a party gets special or temporary right of possession over kind of property, be it movable or immovable. Here we are concerned with movable only. So here the persons such as bailey, pawnee, finder of goods, these kind of people come under the category of special right or temporary right to possession. Section itself states that even these kind of people which have limited or temporary possessionary right, even they can bring a suit of civil nature in a civil court. So lastly, if we talk about Section 8 of this particular Act, it talks about liability of person in possession, not as owner, to deliver to the person entitled to immediate possession. So here in this section, we are talking about a person, first of all, who is having the possession or control of a movable property, but he is not the actual owner. Under this particular section, such person can be compelled to deliver the possession immediately to the entitled person. And this can be done under four different conditions or situations, which are: number one, when the person which we are talking about, the person in possession, is having that property or holding that property in the capacity of agent or trustee of plaintiff. So the person was taking care of that movable property as the agent or trustee of plaintiff, then he can be compelled to deliver the possession to the plaintiff immediately. Secondly, where the court is of the opinion or the court believes that compensation, if granted in monetary terms, would not be an adequate relief for the loss. So, in that particular situation, also the court can grant an order in the favor of plaintiff regarding immediate delivery of possession of property in consideration or in question to the plaintiff from the defendant or the person having the possession. Thirdly, where the court believes that it is extremely difficult to ascertain the actual damage which is caused by loss of thing or property concerned. In that particular situation also, person can be compelled to deliver the possession to the plaintiff. Falk versus Gray is the landmark judgment on this particular aspect. This case was basically dealing with an agreement relating to sale and purchase of a painting of a dead painter. So here the court held that it is not actually very easy or it is very difficult to ascertain that what would be the actual damage caused to the plaintiff if that particular painting is not delivered as such in its original condition to the plaintiff. So here the court ordered the person having the possession to deliver that particular painting as such back to the plaintiff. Lastly, fourth condition is where the possession of that particular movable property was wrongfully transferred from plaintiff to another person. In such situation also, the person can be compelled to immediately return that particular property or give the possession of such property to the plaintiff. Wood versus Rockcliffe is another landmark judgment on this aspect. In this particular case, Mr. Wood, that is the plaintiff, was supposed to go abroad for some days to carry his some personal work, and Rockcliffe was his friend. So while going abroad, he gave his furniture, that is his movable property, to Rockcliffe for taking care of that particular property till he comes back from abroad. Meanwhile, Wood was in abroad, not within the country. Rockcliffe pledged that particular furniture to another person, and when Wood returned back to the country, he saw that Rockcliffe was about to sell the property to another person. Here, the court held that the possession was wrongfully transferred from plaintiff to another person, and he was liable for delivering the possession of that movable property, the furniture concerned, immediately back to the plaintiff. So this was regarding section 8. Last aspect is an explanation, again appended to section 8 also. This particular explanation is talking about a rebuttable presumption of law in the favor of plaintiff. Here we are talking about a situation where whenever a case under this particular section will come before the court will either presume that compensation in money is not adequate, or it will presume that it is very difficult to ascertain the actual damage. So, court will either presume compensation is not adequate or will presume that it is extremely difficult to ascertain the damage, and the burden of proof lies on the defendant to defy these two things. So he has to prove that either compensation in money is adequate relief, or he has to prove that it is not as such very difficult to ascertain the actual damage caused by loss of that particular thing or property. It would lie upon the shoulders of defendant only, and presumption would be in the favor of plaintiff. So this was all about recovery of possession of specific property under Specific Relief Act. I hope you liked this video and it was of some use and understanding to you. Your suggestions and queries are most welcome in the comment section. You can ask me any question you like. I would be soon uploading another video on some another topic relating to specific relief act. Thank you so much. Do like and subscribe for further more videos.